G'day guys and welcome back to Freo Faithful for this week's edition of the Oppo View. Now this is the first Oppo View I've ever hosted. Andrew is too busy or too lazy to be hosting this week. And I also couldn't think of a Giants fan to get on the channel. So I've had to resort to James Mardo Martin. How are you, mate?
I'm absolutely buzzing after the weekend, to be honest. Like, generally unbelievable. The fact that we've done that for the, 50th year in a row now, gone there and done that is fairly special, I will say.
Yeah, well, talk to me about that. That was an unbelievable game. I watched it from start to finish on the weekend. You were obviously there in the cheer squad. And you had some ridiculous performances from some of you guys. Jesse Hogan knocked down 7. Tom Green with a lazy 37 touches. How'd you see that game?
I reckon one of the players that actually goes quite unnoticed there was Sam Taylor. He was just like a genuine wall in defence.
Yep.
And I reckon he doesn't sort of get the credit. It kind of gets overshadowed by, as you said, Green and Hogan. But the thing that stood out for me was just how scarily reminiscent it was of the game last year. Exact same margin, kicking to the same end in the final quarter. We're just up at three-quarter time. They kick a few goals in the last quarter. We get one back, and they're constantly pressing up that end for the best part of, I'd say the majority of the final quarter. They certainly were. It was like, I just cannot believe the same thing basically has happened the last 2 years, and coming off 3 losses as well. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm actually quite thankful you won on the weekend because I wouldn't have liked to play you guys coming off 4 losses at a venue that we're 0-4 at. We've never won an NG Stadium, so that obviously doesn't give us high hopes going into this game. One thing that really stood out on the weekend, you touched on the Geelong game last year at GMHBA. You guys had that incredible Leclerc moment, and you didn't end up picking him on the weekend, which, look, as an outsider, I was surprised about. I would have thought he was the best 22 player for you guys. And given his heroics last year, I thought he would have gone in a game. But that being said, your back six put up an incredible fight on the weekend. So unique and so athletic, everyone back there. Connor Arden really stands out to me, and particularly on Sunday, it was Lockie Ash who had an unreal game. How important have they been this season for you guys?
Oh, I feel that bad for Leclerc because any other team in the competition, he probably slides straight in, and as soon as one of them gets injured, he's basically an immediate replacement. And I reckon it's almost a good problem to have that we have too many defenders in a way. Like, yes, he's probably likely to get traded at the end of the year if we don't give him more of a run, but from what we've seen from him, he is just an unbelievable talent that is just so stiff to be stuck behind even better talent. But for the blokes that were there on the weekend, they seriously played their part. Obviously, Geelong's forward line's so dangerous. They were definitely able to restrict Danger's impact. I think Iden played a lot of time on him, and Danger really never got going in the game. He showed a bit in the last quarter, but up until then, really not much. Honestly, his impact was seriously limited, which was obviously great from our perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. You are going to have quite a different makeup this week. Jake Stringer has obviously been ruled out for a few weeks, and you've got 3 key guys named as a test. Obviously, Toby Bedford missed last week. He's still named as a test. Cogs might come back, and Toby Green picked up a little niggle. How do you think your team's going to look this weekend?
If Stringer's the only one that goes out, then I think it's just Bedford that slide straight in, to be honest. He's been doing such a good job as that tagger role. I'd expect to see him probably go to Sarong, I'd like to say. Not that my Supercoach team will enjoy that, but Sarong has been a bit susceptible to a tag so far this season, but we won't go there. I think he should just slide straight in as a replacement, but I wouldn't mind seeing someone like Max Krajewski or Nathan Wardius, who have been just genuinely taking the piss in the VFL, and once again they've got sort of the Leclerc problem where they're sort of stuck behind, maybe waiting for an injury, but I wouldn't mind to see at least one of them get a game this week.
I'm a big fan of the Guru because he played a few games at the start of the year, didn't he, in the AFL side. And I thought he competed well, probably just fell victim to, the reigning Coleman medalist coming back in the team. But yeah, I like him a lot from an outside perspective. I think he's going to have a real good career with you guys if you can get some games into him. Obviously, one thing that's been talking about this season is sort of the different makeup of your engine room in the midfield that you've been rolling in with week in, week out. Finn Callaghan has had a massive spike in midfield time, and I thought it really got going on the weekend. I think that's the first time that Tom Green and Finn Callaghan have really clicked 100% together in a game. Tom Green probably a season best game, and Finn Callaghan was just bursting out of packs from the back and the front. He's a very taggable player, and JL said during the week that Corey Wagner might be giving Callaghan some attention. But aside from that, how good's your midfield been this season?
Well, look, it was a bit of from both sides, it was a very, very weird makeup on the weekend. There was obviously Tom Green and Callaghan, we should expect, but then we had Toby Green with a bit of midfield time. Geelong started Jeremy Cameron in the midfield, which was honestly one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. And it could honestly be the reason they ultimately lost. They went down by, 4 goals maybe in the first quarter. And Chris Scott said at his press conference after the game that, the move of Jeremy Cameron into the midfield was probably not the right choice to make. But in saying that, I reckon Tom Green has certainly struggled for form at in the early parts of this season. So it's obviously very good to see him come back into that. Callaghan as well, I think he's not had a drop off in form, but just not at the level he was at the start of the year, which was, I guess, so far above others around him. So, look, we're pretty reliant on our midfield. We saw against Sydney, the midfield was shocking, to be honest. And that certainly showed the defence was under all sorts of pressure throughout the entire game, which, well, obviously contributed to that loss in a big way. So if they can get firing, it's definitely changes the best part of the result, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're playing another sort of go all in on the midfield team. We basically, with whatever game plan we have, just go all in on the contest, and whatever else sort of sorts itself out. You alluded to earlier Toby Bedford coming back in the team and probably playing a role on Sarong, which he most definitely will, I'm 99% sure. And we've sort of run with the storyline on the channel this year, stop Sarong, stop Freo. Every game that Sarong's been tagged in, we've lost quite comprehensively. So, yeah, it's a good record whenever you tend to stop his really, really good in an underwork. Aside from that, what have you seen from the Dockers this year, and who do you see as our main threats?
Well, to be honest, even up forward, Josh Tracy has looked quite lively when he's been playing. When he's been up and going, Brayshaw obviously is seriously taking the piss in the midfield at the moment. He's almost, it's that kind of double threat that makes Freo a little bit lively as well, because if your tags are wrong, you've still got Brayshaw to deal with and vice versa. So it's a big problem for other clubs to try and combat that. I reckon the organisation, the back line as well, has been good. Luke Ryan last week had quite a good game as well. Jordan Clark, who was really went big as well. So, look, they're very, very hard to predict, I'll say, the Dockers, but if they're playing their best footy, they are certainly a different animal altogether. Different beast, should I say. Sorry.
No, definitely. I mean, Geordie Clark had an unbelievable game last week, and Luke Ryan defensively, I think, is always quite inept, but one thing he's been criticised for, or personally I've criticised him for, is his really slow ball movement from the back half, and I think every outside team that watches the Dockers, even Freo fans, we don't know what Freo outfit we're going to get week in, week out, and most of it stems from how quickly we move the ball, and whenever we play bad football and move it slow, it tends to stem from that back line, so they really need to step up in that area this week. Now, what are your expectations for this week? Because we are 0-4 at NG Stadium all time. We've had some pretty horror days. I think our average margin at NG is a 46-point loss. I've been there the past 2 years. 2023, we got battered by 80 points. Last year, it was traumatising because you pretty much ended our finals hopes. Bailey Banfield gave away that 50. Hogan kicked 6 on Cox. But aside from all of that, a lot to play for both teams. What do you see happening?
Well, honestly, as you alluded to before, the Dockers are that unpredictable. And to be honest, we are as well. This literally could go either way. It could be 100 points either way, the way things have been going. I think just from what we've seen in recent years with our trips down to Geelong, it seems to have brought a bit of confidence back into the team, and we've been able to string a few wins on the board after that. So I'd expect probably that we come out on top, but I don't know how convinced I should be. Maybe I'm lured into a bit of a false sense of security after last week, but I feel like the Dockers are very much due for a win, to be honest. They've been underachieving the whole year, it seems, and especially the last few weeks, they've been very, very disappointing. So expect the Dockers to come out firing, and I'd say expect a very interesting contest, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it will be too. I mean, despite our record, as you just alluded to, I feel like we are due a win. Like, us going 4-6 with the list we've got doesn't seem right to me. And we were speaking on the podcast during the week that maybe we are overrating the list, and we were speaking about the Giants list, and we look at your team on paper, and it is just seriously scary. Like, all over the ground, you've just got bona fide jets, tall and small. You've got Kieran Briggs has maybe had a slightly underwhelming year, but he's certainly serviceable, and that's all you need in a ruckman while we're paying $2 million, and one of them's probably going out the door. So, yeah, look, your list, I think a lot of clubs, particularly us, are very, very envious of, and particularly the team that you'll put out on Saturday will be a scary one with guys like Toby Bedford coming back into the mix. So yeah, I'm very, very keen for this weekend's game. Do you want to give a final tip?
I'll say the Giants by 12. I think the Dockers will very much push us all the way in that department. So I'm not sure what you expect. To be honest, I reckon my guess is almost as good as yours in terms of what the Dockers are going to produce this week. You mentioned before how unpredictable they have been. Only time will tell, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go the Giants by 20. I'm not overly confident, but that being said, last time that I tipped against Fremantle, we beat Adelaide. So, hey, maybe it's a good omen. James, where can people find you if they want to see your stuff?
To be honest, the content's been very, very dry recently. Maybe, no certainties, a bit of a Giants page coming in the near future. No promises yet, still very much in the early works. But YouTube Mardo234 if you want to see some very much outdated content. And to be honest, it's shocking, some of it.
Don't undersell yourself. He makes some very, very good documentaries. If you're into the BBL, there is a couple documentaries on there. You made a good video a few months ago about a mental health round, so you've got some good stuff up there. Go check it out if you want to. And we've got a shortage of Giants creators in the community, so if you're a Giants fan, get out there and start talking about your footy team. James, thanks for hopping on this week, mate. Good luck for Saturday, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.